many of those indirect or implicit linkages. Next slide, please. Number one. So let me continue with a very brief overview of the course. You've already seen, I'm sure, that the course consists of some introductory modules, we call these the A modules, and then a set of much more specific topic-focused modules, the B and C modules. The A modules are intended to convey the big picture. So they provide an overview of the main topics of this course. They identify most of the key issues, and they raise some of the more important policy questions as well. Along the way, in the A modules, we present a number of stylized facts, a number of very general things that we know to be true about trade in general and about the interactions of trade and the targets of the SDGs. Some of these stylized facts, for example, we know that when countries engage in trade, both of them win, or all of them win, but that also there will be, within each country, there will be winners and losers from trade. So obviously, this sets up many of the issues that link trade to the SDGs, because if everybody's a winner, that's great. SDG progress will be easy to identify, but because we know that trade involves losers as well as winners, then we have issues that we need to address, we have analysis that we need to engage in. So part of the goal of the A modules, the introductory modules, is to set up how we go about identifying these big effects of trade. And one of the most important things that we do for that purpose is we introduce some important economic principles, things that guide analysis and guide questions that we ask about the benefits or costs of policy. And these principles are, again, laid out in the first set of modules, mostly in module A.2. After that, we turn to specifics. So the B and C modules engage with a number of different topics. Their primary focus, at least in the B modules, are the social and economic and environmental SDGs. And within this, we focus a lot on the operation of labor markets. And then for environmental purposes, we spend a lot of time looking at environmental externalities. We also examine policies in some detail. The two C modules deal with health and with global value chains. Now, with all of these B and C modules, the really big insight, the big takeaway that we're going to get is that if we want to understand the SDG effects of trade, then we need to know a lot about institutions and indeed about policies as well. Because if we don't recognize the role of institutions, then it's really hard to unpack or to understand the indirect or implicit linkages from trade to the SDGs. So we're going to spend some time doing that. Next slide, please, number one. Okay, here's just one example. If we ask, how does trade reduce poverty? I'm sorry, if you have your microphone unmuted, could you mute it, please? There's some extra sounds coming through. Okay, so how does trade reduce poverty? Well, the sequence of connections goes like this. Trade, or trade and foreign direct investment, takes advantage of abundant resources in an economy, and in many developing economies, that includes labor. Now, if we have more trade or more FDI, then we know that that will increase labor demand, and in turn, that will increase the wages earned by each of the workers in the economy and the incomes of owners of labor. So there will be direct effects on those who get jobs or have jobs directly related to trade. But that's not the end of the story. There will be indirect effects on industries which grow because of trade. So think about building an industrial park. It's not just the products that get produced in that industrial park and the people working in factories producing those products. It's also people working in construction and in various service industries that support the activities of that industrial park. And that's not the end either, because we know that many of the workers in that industrial park are themselves migrants from other parts of the country or even from other countries, and that part of their earnings will get sent home to much poorer regions, their origin communities, through remittances. So we know that the gains from trade can be spread very widely. They're not concentrated in the trade-dependent industries. They will be spread through spatial links and through remittances to many other communities and individuals as well. However, what that shows us immediately is that the gains from trade depend on labour mobility. If I cannot move, if I'm stuck in the countryside for whatever reason, and I can't move to an industrial park either to get a job in a factory or to work in construction or housing services or food services or some other industry connected to that park, then of course it's much more difficult for me to capture any of the gains from trade. So that's an institutional question. If the labour market doesn't work very well, that's an institutional failure, and that will affect the extent and the distribution of the gains from trade, and therefore will affect the capacity of trade to reduce poverty, to reduce hunger, to create decent jobs and other SDG goals of that kind. So typically what we're going to see, and we'll see this many times in the course, is that if you have a goal, for example, reducing poverty, trade can help to achieve that goal, but if there are institutional failures or policy distortions in the way, then trade may not succeed or may have the opposite effect. And so typically what we find is that if we have two targets, for example, capturing gains from trade and also reducing inefficiency in a market like the labour market, then we need more than one policy as well. So two targets, two instruments is a phrase that you'll see many times through this course. That's just one example, but there are many other examples that will come as we go through the course. Next slide, please, number one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So let me not talk too much longer. Let's just look ahead in the course. Today's session is very brief, just an introduction. On the 18th of November, Friday, we will spend an hour looking at the key issues in the course. There will be opportunities for discussion, and there'll be opportunities for, of course, questions and answers from you, the participants, as well. What do you need to do to participate in that session? You need to complete the A modules, that is, work your way through those modules, including taking the tests and following up with the references that are cited within those modules. And then 10 days later, on the 28th of November, we'll have a longer session, 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, and that will engage with much more specific issues and policies, and will involve not just me, but also a group of about 5 other experts, so a panel of experts who will be available to speak on specific topics covered by this course. What's the prerequisite for that second session? It will be completing the B and the C modules, including the tests that come with those. And if you do all of this, then you have accomplished, you've completed the course, and ESCAP will issue you, at your request, a certificate for having completed the online course if you pass the quizzes with at least 75%, I hope you will, and of course attending the workshops themselves. Now, as you work your way through the course, and if you have questions or comments that you would like to propose for discussion, then please post these to the chat on the course platform. Not the chat here today, but the chat on the course platform. For the rest of today, I'm going to hand over to the ESCAP staff. They're going to provide guidelines on access to the course and use of the course resources. And then following that, we'll have, if we have time, we'll have a brief Q&A for which please post your questions in the Teams chat right here today. So I'll hand over now to Namwan and her colleagues for guidelines on course access. Thanks, Namwan.
Thanks so much, Ian, for the introductions for this course. So now we will try to open the opening remark again. So, Khun Wanalat, could you please open the video of Yan, our section chief, opening remark again, please?
Dear participants and colleagues, a very warm welcome to ESCAP's Trade and SDGs online course. This course has been a long time coming, but I believe is very timely, being launched in the midst of increasing geopolitical tensions, rising nationalism and protectionism, and really only 8 years away from 2030, the year on which the world is supposed to have achieved the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. While achieving the SDGs by 2030 has always been a very ambitious objective, the progress made towards the goal has been slow, and in fact, perhaps slower than many countries expected when they adopted the SDG agenda in New York in 2015. Looking at the situation in Asia and the Pacific, about halfway through the 15 years timeline to the goal, the region is not on track at all to achieve any of the goals. The COVID-19 crisis has made things a lot worse. Back in 2017, our tracking of the indicators suggested that we would reach the goals by 2052. By 2021, the estimated year to achieve the SDGs, based on the current pace in the region, has moved to 2065. So you may want to take a look at our SDG Progress Report 2022 for details on this. But let me just highlight that the SDGs on which progress have been made the least are SDG 13 on climate action and SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production. There are very clear links between trade policy and the SDGs, including in relation to these two goals I just mentioned. I mean, trade has been identified as a key means of implementation of the overall Sustainable Development Agenda. But at ESCAP, we also developed a framework back in 2017 on mainstreaming trade into sustainable development to maximize the benefits of trade. It advocated a rethink of trade policy away from trade liberalization to trade policy strategies featuring more policies targeted to the goals. For example, lowering tariffs specifically on environmental goods. It also recommended a clear emphasis on policy compliance and cutting the red tape associated with import and export procedures to make trade more inclusive. Finally, it also recommended the strengthening of all the complementary policies, like labor policies, to compensate and support those affected by the structural changes associated with open competition. This course is partly based on this framework, although it has been shaped and reshaped greatly in the more than 2 years or so it has taken to develop it, with a lot of inputs from so many trade policy and international development experts that I can't thank them all by name here. For now, let me just mention Mia Mikic, ARTNeT Advisor at Large, and Jan Coxhead, who really drafted all the modules and will facilitate the course. Let me also mention Witada Anukun Wataka from my team, without which launching this course would simply not have been possible. So again, very welcome to all the participants in the course, and I hope you enjoy it. And I really look forward to your feedback also that we can integrate in future runs of the course in coming months and years. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, so now I will move to the next section to show you, as Ian mentioned, this course will consist of the self-learning module. All the learning module is available on the ESCAP community platform. So let me share my screen to walk you through the ESCAP community platform. So as you can see, so once you register to the link that we provide you, you will see this screen. And for the first time, for the new member, you need to click here to request to join. And then you fill in your first name, your last name, your email address, and create your own password to create an account. So let me share another screen here. So after you have create your account on ESCAP e-community platform and register to this course on trade and sustainable development goal, you will see this screen, which is a course syllabus, an overview tab, which is the description about this course, the objective, and the certificate that you will explain you about the certificate that you will receive will be able to find here. So I will skip this part. And as Ian mentions, all modules you will be able to access here. So let me walk you through the module part A, which is the mandatory modules as an example. So this first module will provide you the basic knowledge about trade and sustainable development goals. So as you click here, you will see an sub-module that you will need to go to. Each module will be provide a short video lectures, and under the video lecture here, you will able to see the video narrations. So you click here, you will see the subtitle of the video lecture. You can also able to download it. And then if you scroll down, so to the bottom, so you will see a few questions for you to extend your knowledge. This question we provide to help you to review the lesson before you taking the quiz. And once you have complete watching all video lectures here, you will able to go to the quiz. So for example, here is the quiz of the module A. You will click on this hyperlink and you will link to this form. You will need to provide your personal information, your name, your email address, and your countries, also your organizations. So please be careful when you write your name here, because this name will be shown on your certificate as well as your email address. And then you click next. You will access to the multiple choice quiz. You will need to complete all the answer here before you submit the test. And to pass this quiz, as Ian mentioned earlier, so you need to get a score of 75% correct. And after you have complete the test, then you will able to start to other part. And after you have get a score of 75 or more, then you will receive an email from us. This email will include the quiz to do the link to do other quiz. And then you you're able to start other part to learn on and get the certificate. So let me mention here again that in total, if you have if you have taken or quiz and passed it all, then you will get the 7 certificate from the United Nations ESCAP. And if you have passed all the quiz here and you have attended 3 live session module as you are here today, then you will get another 1 certificate on top of it. And so now I believe all of you have some idea about ESCAP community platform. So I have a few things to mention further. So here, so all participants are really welcome to write in this chat box. Like you can add any questions you have about this course, as Ian mentioned before, and we will pick up to discuss with you on the next live sessions on this Friday. Also, you can introduce yourself or share your experience about this course here as well. And really last thing is that we also provide reference and recommend readings at the end section here. So you will able to access to more reading that in case you want to understand more or find more information about international trade and sustainable development. So you can click on this hyperlink to reach to more resource about this. And then So if you have any technical questions or anything about this course that you want to know more, you can email to us or write down in the chat box that I mentioned before. Before I turning back to Ian, I saw there is one hand. Let me check. Ian, I think we have one question.
Go ahead. We have time for one.
So Nima, do you want to speak? I see you raised your hand. Now I disable your microphone so you can speak now. But now I open your microphone so you can speak.
Maybe not.
I see he's trying to speaking.
Oh.
We cannot hear you. So could you write out in the chat box the questions that you have?
It is not a question. It's just a greeting. Yeah. Thank you so much for your invitation, and we are very glad to see you, all of you, and we will try our best from Myanmar.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well then, if there are no questions, is that right, Naman? No.
Yes. So we can close today's section.
Yes. So let me thank you. So let me just say once again, welcome to the course. I look forward to interacting with as many of you as I can. Last time we checked, there were almost 400 participants. So you're a very big group. And I don't know, with only 2 or 3 meetings, we won't really get to know each other so well, but feel free, as Naman said, to add information about yourself, questions or discussion comments in the chat on the course platform, and we'll do our very best to address and respond to all of those. So once again, thank you for joining the course. I look forward to seeing you all on Friday, and until then, well, stay safe.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
See
you all.
on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Naman.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Naman. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Ciao.
you.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good
Yeah,
afternoon.
thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Wow. So many participants, right? It's incredible.
Yes.
And everyone there all around the world, maybe 40 or 50 different countries as well. What a group. It's great.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I see one hand. Is somebody want to speak anything? I see one hand from participants. So can you stay a bit longer, Ian?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can stay.
Oh, but they lower their hand already.
Oh, they logged up?
Yeah.
That's okay. Friday.
Yeah, Friday, see you.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think we can leave now. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Naman, I'll email you as well, and we'll solve some technical issues before Friday. Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Bye-bye.
lot.
Good.
So
Okay.
see you.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you.